Our next presentation, applying the weed wrangler approach to manual control of Scotch broom, brought to us by Dana Pearce from Uprooter. Thank you, Dana.
Hi.
And Rochelle, don't forget to take yourself off the camera also.
All right. Let's see. Can you hear me okay so far?
Yes, so far we can hear you.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. I'm Dana Pearce. I am the Vice President of CP Designs. We are the makers of Uprooter and Weed Wrench tools. So we don't only just make them, we like to put them to use whenever possible. So that's actually how we got involved with Weed Wrangle. One of our great partners out of Nashville, Stephen Manning, with invasive plant control, introduced us to it and decided we would participate. So let's just go ahead and take a look. What is a weed wrangle? You can see sorry about that. I don't know. So the weed wrangle really, it started as an effort. Let's see. Can you see my control panel right now? I mean,
no.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's kind of in my way. So I'll move it over here. Okay. Anyway, the Weed Wrangle it's a one-day area-wide event that they started in Nashville originally, and the real effort was to help rescue their public parks and green spaces from non-native invasives. So they have different invasives there. Here, one of our big invasives, as you know, is Scotch broom. We're all making the same effort here. It's actually been really nice to see all of the different efforts people are making. It's pretty amazing. But Weed Wrangle, it actually was coordinated by the Garden Clubs of America in Nashville, and that's who's kind of responsible for continuing to spread the word about Weed Wrangle. And this just gives you an idea of where it's happening. So you can see on the map here, it's happening a lot in the south and in the east, and there's one little spot in Oregon that happens to be Grants Pass that hosts a Weed Wrangle each year. Well, something really cool that happened this year with Weed Wrangle, they did a nationwide stay-at-home Weed Wrangle where people could be more involved. I did notice that there were some West Coasters that were being more involved in the stay-at-home event, and that was exciting. So I guess that's what I want to share with you guys today is that anybody can do this, anybody can get involved at any scale. So you can do it on a very small scale, and it's still helping the effort of removing invasives, educating the community, helping people understand what invasive plants are and why they're a problem. And it is going to be specific to each person's area. But let's see. So for us, we decided we would host a Weed Wrangle, and the one thing that we decided to do, which is pick our site. Like I said, on a smaller scale, you have to find somewhere in your area that you want to work on to remove invasive plants. We picked a place called Griffin Park in Grants Pass. We chose it because it's really pretty easy to access. It's heavily used, so people would see, the effort that you're making, and also it's going to make a difference on the impact of spread. This particular site also had potential vectors of spread. So there's a creek flowing off of the BLM land into the park. Luckily enough, the Scotch broom hadn't spread into the park itself, but had remained in the BLM side. But in our first year of Weed Wrangle, we made the effort to pull Scotch broom along the creek to try and prevent further spread. And then in the same area, there's a trail that's this public use trail on that BLM land, and so that's obviously a vector of spread as well. People walking around and getting seeds on their boots and spreading it further. As you can see in the little picture on the side, there's the river's actually in the background too. So that creek isn't very far from the river where it could also spread further. So that's why we chose Griffin Park. And then of course we picked our focus. We wanted to focus on Scotch broom. Like I said, we build the tools that are often used for removing it, and we wanted to put our tools to use and get the Scotch broom out. So one of the reasons we also picked it is because in this area, there's a huge visual impact. The whole forest is just covered with Scotch broom. So by us being able to remove it and start seeing that underlayer again, it has a real impact for those that are going there on a regular basis to hike or to use the boat ramp and things like that. And then the other effort that we try to do is serve the community. We wanted the people to understand why we're doing this, why it's important, and you're going to see here kind of our way that we did it, the way that we put the weed wrangle together. So I guess, like I said, I want to make this really accessible to anybody. So if there's people that are listening today that say, you know, I want to have an event, I want to do something, you can do a stay-at-home weed wrangle. You can just pull weeds in your own backyard, document it, and add it to the weed wrangle pages. They've got social media and things like that that you can participate in. But if you want to organize an event, even a very small event, it all just starts with planning. So for us, you know, Stephen Manning, our great partner, he said the best way to get started, you just choose a date and a location, and that's what we did. So we picked a date on our first year, and we do that same thing every year. We say, when are we going to do our weed wrangle? And we pick the date. A lot of times, if you look at the larger national website, they will coordinate their events on the same day in Nashville and other big cities. And it really is, it has such a bigger impact when you can educate a large group of people. You can use media sources to get the information out. But for us, we're a small town. We just wanted to be able to make an effort with the time and energy that we had. And so we picked our day, we picked our location, and then we started working with our partners. So as I was kind of describing before, we worked with the county, because it's a county park that we were actually, you know, it's actually bordering the park. It's the Scotch room where we were pulling was actually outside of the park, but we still partnered with the park to say, hey, we're going to have an event. They allowed us the use of their shelter for the day. And then we also partnered with the BLM, of course, because it's their land. If you are putting together your own weed wrangle event, a lot of times these different organizations, they will help cover your liability, so you don't have to worry about that sort of thing. You can see on this page as well that Solve, which I don't know if you are familiar with Solve, but it is a volunteer organization, and they have a focus of cleaning up trash and removing invasive plants and replanting natives. And they're a great partner for coordinating volunteer events because they also are somebody that will cover liability for you. But they also provide other tools and even small grants to help you get tools that you might need, or to buy native plants to replant. There's different things that Solve will do, but it's also been a great partner for us. Also in just advertising too, you get on the Solve website and it gets good information out to people that are looking for an opportunity to volunteer. So we, and also in our first year especially, looked for sponsors, you know, people that would donate prizes or even some food so that we could feed our volunteers. And so those are things you can look to do. You don't have to, though. You can keep it very simple. You can do it for 2 hours and just go out there and get the work done. And people will still show up. People will still feel connected to what you're doing, and your effort is worth it in that case. And then obviously you have to connect with volunteers. You're going to find ways to connect. We've done lots of different things to get to volunteers. Like I said, we've used the Solve website. We use our own social media. And we've also, this year, we actually did a printout that we distributed so that we could educate people more about the problem of Scotch broom, why it's important to remove, and really connect more with the community that is directly around the park, not just the city of Grants Pass, but the people that live and are neighbors to the park there. So this is just these are pictures from the day of the event. This is our first year. We've actually done this event for 4 years, and it just, each year you see this progress happening. It's really exciting. We decided to pick one single site to continue to work on, and that's obviously something you can choose to do, or you can choose to pick a different site each year. Or you could even have multiple events in a year, depending on what you're looking to do. But we had our one day, we got out there, we pulled Scotch broom. There's a few before and after photos here to kind of give you an idea. I believe it was the broom buster scout. She said, take photos because it inspires people, and it really does. It's exciting to see what things look like before and after you removed this invasive plant. And then after the effort, we really wanted to put native plants back. So that first year we went to a native plant sale. We've got a bunch of plants, and we plugged it in the spots where we had disturbed the soil to try and help the regrowth of native plants in the area. Honestly, the thing that we learned from all of this is to, continue to do our event. Modeling an event after someone else is an easy way to get this started, but you can connect back by looking at the Weed Wrangle media. They have a lot of information. They even have it all. They have it structured out, and they have sample. What is it? Like a public service announcement. But they have sample stuff that you can give it out to the newspaper and things like that. So the Weed Wrangle itself is a bigger national effort that you can tag on to for your local events if you want to. So that's kind of the exciting thing about staying connected to Weed Wrangle. Anyway, resonating results, continuing to keep your site going in the right direction. Let's see. And then even expanding. So honestly, we're the only town right now on the West Coast doing a Weed Wrangle. We'd like to collaborate with other towns. I'd love it if people are hearing this today and say, hey, how did you get that event going? What can I do to help? I want to do something. And I can connect you over to Weed Wrangle. So from our perspective, we really kind of look at the educational piece of the 3 R's. We want to help the community recognize invasives. We want to remove the problem and then restore it. So we kind of try and keep it simple when we're educating people, and we kind of use this as a guideline also for our decisions that we make in trying to plan our events. So one thing that we've learned over the years, because we did adopt one site, we kind of continue that same effort, is that if you can connect to the people that live in the area and that are directly affected by your target invasives and help them learn to identify it, your effort is going to spread quicker. Like I mentioned, we had done basically a flyer this year that had a lot more information on it, and we had some locals show up that they didn't realize the problem, but yet they're neighbors of this park and this BLM land. So we might make all the effort we can to clear the Scotch broom off of that BLM land, but if our neighbors aren't involved and our neighbors aren't connected to it, then it's going to continue to grow on their land and still spread. So if we can help them understand our efforts and why we're doing this, and have them be a partner with us, that's going to make our efforts more effective over time. And then I think the other piece about going back to the same site that we've really liked is that it allows us to understand the progress over time and the continued for monitoring. So for example, I mentioned that at the beginning we cleared that creek side first year, and then this year when we went back, we did see a little bit of regrowth. So all of it was pretty small. We removed it with hand pulling this time, but it was important that we went back there and we saw what was happening and we're monitoring it so that we can continue to see progress. Over the years, like I said, we worked on the creek, we worked on the trail. We basically just worked our way up the trail over the years to try and
Dana, this is your 2-minute mark. Thanks.
Okay, yeah. And so, and then this picture actually is just a visual of, you can see the piles of Scotch broom, but we spread that Scotch broom was all the way up to the trail. We spread it back a good 20 feet to try like I said, clear the vector of spread. And then, but there is still more effort that can be made in the forest there. And then also just understanding that having the right partners is going to allow for superior citizen science education experience. This year was excellent. Our BLM partner came out with us this year. She brought native seeds from their seed bank that we were able to spread with our volunteers at the time and show them the full cycle of our effort of what we're doing. We're going to remove and we're going to help restore as well. And then at the same time, she was also documenting, recording what all the sites that we were at, recording of the removal, where it was. This is stuff that people in the community don't get to see, the real efforts that are being made sometimes. So it is really nice if you can connect to those government partners and other people that are doing the day-to-day effort so that they understand the real work that's happening behind the scenes. So just to wrap it up, again, I want to encourage everybody to do a Weed Wrangle, become a partner. Casey McAllister, she is fabulous and the national coordinator for the Weed Wrangle. So I've left her email here for you. And then there's my email as well. You're welcome to email me if you have questions or want to get involved. Most likely I'll just I can share my experience and I'll connect you with Casey because she's going to be the one that can really give you all of the details about how you put together your own Weed Wrangle. But thank you so much for your time, everyone. And I'm excited to see all the effort that's being put into